top three in this draft, I think all of us kind of agree are a consensus, which means we're moving to the number 4 pick, moving to Sacramento, where you never really know what's going to end up happening with the way that they draft. So, Ryan, this is on you. There's a lot of pressure, man. This is kind of the first decision point and inflection point of this draft. Who are you going with number 4?
And Rob, that's why when Jeff asked me to do this mock draft, I said, I'll do it, but I want the 4th pick. To me, this is where the excitement begins. The top 3 went according to form. Obviously, Sac made a big deal last year, bringing in Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. As we know, they unfortunately have the longest playoff drought in NBA history, which they would like to end. So I'm going to throw a curveball here. I'm going to trade this pick to Indiana for Tyrese Halliburton. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep the pick and draft Jaden Ivey from Purdue. I understand that's controversial, given De'Aaron Fox's place on the roster, and given that a year ago they did something similar. In fact, in the last couple drafts, they drafted Halliburton, who was an excellent pick. Obviously, he's now in Indiana. And then a year ago, drafting Mitchell when they were backcourt heavy. But I give Monty McNair a lot of credit. It's not easy to do. He has drafted consistently. They've drafted the best player available, in my opinion. It just happens to be in the backcourt. So I'm going to do it again here. And I agree with what Matt said earlier about Jaden Ivey. I wouldn't at all be surprised as we look back on this draft in 5 or 10 years and say Jaden Ivey's the best player to come out of the draft class. I know those front court players are getting a lot of attention, but I think this kid's a Ferrari. I mean, the way he moves with the ball in his hands is different. It's Ja Morant-like, it's John Wall-like pre-injuries. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as those guys. Obviously, Morant is an MVP candidate, but this kid has a special gear. And I think with the way the NBA is going and the lack of contact with the ball handler, it's going to be really difficult, if not impossible, to stay in front of Jaden Ivey.
As the guy picking number 5 for Detroit, I am right now absolutely devastated. Matt, I'm going to go to you real quick on this. How do you fit all of those guards together in the backcourt? How do you make that work?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a great fit. And on our mock draft on Basketball News, I do have Jaden Ivey going number 4. I think this is a strong candidate to a pick that could be moved. I know there's a lot of teams that feel the same way that Ryan and I do about Ivey. And I've heard the exact phrase Ferrari when describing him before too. And so I have a hard time seeing Ivy slipping past 4, but I'm not sure it'll be to Sacramento. So we'll see.
Sam, any takes on this? Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to agree with what Matt said in that I don't think the 3 picks get traded. The first 3 picks get traded as we sit here a week before the draft. I think this pick is very much in play for all the reasons I mentioned. Sacramento wants to win. They have a backcourt in place with Fox and Mitchell. If they can get a win now player, I think they trade out, they drop down. They want to win, and this pick has a lot of value to the other 29.